Hello, my name is Blonde Analyst, and we'll be going over some basic concepts today in Power BI. This will be a series in which I will be going over concepts in Power BI in which I'll try to show you how to use Power BI in a simple manner in order for you to be able to analyze data. In this video, we'll be going over importing data, transforming data, visualizations, slicers, themes, and savings. So, first thing that we have to go over is obviously starting up a new report. So we'll go here, we'll hit report. Now, this is a little clustered. We have a lot of stuff here. We'll break it down step by step. On the left hand side, we have three separate views. We have our report view, our table view, and our model view. Report view is how we're going to have all of our visualizations and how we're actually going to display that data. Table view is where all of our data will be stored and where we can see all the individual numbers. Model view is if we're importing multiple data sets, how they will be connected. Now, we won't be using the model view today just because we're only going to be importing one data set. On the right hand side, we have our visualizations and all of our different graphs and how we're able to visualize that data. Now, first we need to import that data. We'll be going to File and Get Data. There's a lot of different ways to import data into Power BI. We have Excel workbooks, we have text/CSVs, we have the web, which is actually a very, very useful method of importing data. Let's say that you have a Wikipedia page and you have this data set that you want to actually import. You could actually copy the link, go to web, and paste the URL, and it'll actually import that data set for you. Now, we won't be using that today. We'll actually be using a CSV file. CSV just stands for comma separated values. And we'll be going over popular baby names. Now, in this, we have a few different rows and columns that we could just go over very briefly. We have the birth year, which is just like when the baby was born. We have the gender, sex of the baby. Ethnicity is the mother's ethnicity. We have the child's first name. We have the count, which is the number of babies with this name. And we have the rank, which is the frequency of baby names in descending order. Now, let's say we actually don't want the rank. We could actually transform the data here, and we could take out this rank by just right-clicking and hitting remove. Let's say we don't want to take account Hispanics into our database. We can actually filter them out by left-clicking here in this little drop-down menu, and here we have some filters. So we can actually hit this checkbox to uncheck the Hispanics and then hit OK. This will then filter out all of the Hispanics in our database. Let's say we change our mind and we actually want to put back the Hispanics into the database. On the right hand side, we have all of the steps that we have done in order to filter, and we can actually unfilter the rows by hitting this little X right here, and then the Hispanics will be back. If we want to put back the column as well, we could also hit this little X, but for now, let's just keep it out. Now, to import that data, we will then hit close and apply on the top left corner, and our data will be imported from there. Now, we don't see anything here just because we are in the report view. We need to go to the table view in which all of our data will be displayed. As you can see, we have a lot of names, over 57,000. Now, we're not going to be going over this one by one, obviously. That's why we are studying data analysis. So we're going to go over some different forms of visualization. Now, as we said before, there's a lot of different bar charts, line graphs, pie charts, all different sorts of tables that we could use to display our data. Now, let's go over something a little more simple just to start off, like the sum of count by the ethnicity. Now, how will we display this data? First, we need to find it here on the right hand side. And here we have our popular baby names, which is all of our data. So we have the child's first name, the count, the ethnicity, the gender, and the year of birth. So first, let's go over the sum of count by the ethnicity in a pie chart. So first, we'll hit pie chart right here. We'll drag it over here, make it a little bigger, and as we can see, we don't have any data in here. Now, the data will actually be displayed right here, and we can drag it or click this little box right here, and it'll put it in here, in which will have the legend, the values, the details, or the tooltips. Right now, let's just do ethnicity and the sum of count. We'll do ethnicity and the sum of count. And here is our pie chart. Displayed very simple, very easy. We have it color coded. We have Hispanics, white non-Hispanics, etc. Very simple. Now, let's say they ask for the sum of count by gender and ethnicity. And let's say they want it in a stacked bar chart form. We will go over here, hit stacked bar chart. Obviously, we don't have any data yet. So let's add it to our y-axis, x-axis, and legend. So first, we need to get the gender on the y-axis. So we'll put that there. And then the sum of count, we'll have it on the bottom. Now, this is how many males were tested. This is how many females were tested. And then let's separate that by ethnicity. Just click this little checkbox. And as you can see, it's separated perfectly for us, in which it will be displayed very easily. Now, let's go over tables. Oh, oops. So, with a table, we can put some basic info like the child's first name and the sum of count, just so we could have some actual numbers on display. The count. Now, obviously, this is a humongous list with thousands upon thousands, and we just want, let's say, the top 5 most common names. We can actually use these titles on the top to actually be able to filter out in ascending or descending order. We could sort them out properly. So we just left click sum of count, and it will actually put it in descending order for us. Or we could left click again, and it'll put it in ascending order. Let's say we want it in alphabetical order. We could do it as so by left clicking the child's first name. If we want it in descending order, we left click again, and we'll have it by in descending order. So let's say we just want the top 5 names. We don't want all of the info. So let's just shift and then left click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll include these names. This will then have the top 5 names with their total. As we could see, being 85,658. Let's say our boss wants us to do something a little bit more precise. Let's say they want the top 5 female Hispanic names. Now that is a little bit more complicated. We can't just be going around counting, and we can't just be looking around for this sort of data. That is where the slicer comes in. The slicer will be this icon right here. Now, with the slicer, we can use that to actually filter out our data live. So, the first filter that we'll be using in our slicer will be ethnicity. And we'll have another filter right here for gender. And for the sake of it, let's have another table here with the child's first name and the count. Then we will have it in descending order, and we're going to have Hispanic females. And these will all be Hispanic females ranked in descending order. And as we can see, the top 5 names are Isabella, Sophia, Mia, Camila, and Sophia. Let's say we wanted the sum of these. We would hold shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and only include these. As you can see, the total adds up to 30,607. Let's take out these filters. Now, the last thing that we will go over before saving will actually be the themes. Let's say some people on the team are actually colorblind, and we want to make it a little more colorblind friendly. We'll go over to view, and here we'll have our separate themes. Now, this report right now, as we can see, is on the default. But we can actually find a colorblind safe theme, and it will actually change the theme of our data in order to make it more colorblind safe. Now, the last thing that we'll be going over is saving. Saving is something that's very simple. We'll go over to File, we hit Save, and we can name this whatever we would like. Let's call it names data. Perfect. And before we go, let's actually title it names data just to make it a little easier. For that, we'll just be going over to text box and putting it as names data. I don't really like this font. Let's just do the classic Times New Roman, and let's make it a little bit bigger. Maybe font size 20. We'll then crop this out a little bit, and we'll drag it up right here on the top left hand side. Now let's do another save, and that'll be all for our first video. Hopefully that made it very simple, and now you guys will be able to import data, overview that data, transform, visualize, slice, theme, and be able to save for your next project. Thank you.